Happy New Year, my friend. You are only the second person I've spoken to today, and the first one is my husband, so it doesn't count.
Your dogs are almost people.
That's true, too.
Happy New Year, Aaron Davis.
And you too, Lisa Brandt. It seems like forever since we talked, but we just took that week off on Christmas Day, and here we are, here you are. Thank you so much for joining us for another year of Gracefully and Frankly. And yeah, you were busy over Christmas and you made sugarless cheesecake.
Yeah.
Are we going to have some of this when you're here this month?
I would love to make it if we can get all the ingredients. Sure. My brother is a sugar-free guy. Of course, I try to stay sugar-free as well. So I said, what do you want for dessert on Christmas? And he said, anything without sugar. So I said, cheesecake. It's really simple.
And how was it?
Oh, it was fantastic. In fact, it was to the point that Derek had some, and he said he could not believe it didn't have sugar in it. That's high praise.
Please tell me you're going to post it on our GNF Facebook page, Gracefully and Frankly Facebook.
Absolutely, I will.
Okay.
I've got to find the source of it so I give proper credit because I didn't invent it, but man, it's good.
Good. You could add sugar-free maple syrup and make it maple washed, which somebody has decided was the word of the year for 2025, maple washed.
Yes, maple wash. And I did have the cheesecake with maple syrup, actually. But there is a new Canadian English dictionary about to come out. Do you know that we haven't had a Canadian dictionary in like 20-something years? The Canadian Oxford Dictionary stopped updating after 2004.
Well, that's outrageous. No, we don't say oot. We don't.
Well, let me tell you all about it.
Okay.
There's this not-for-profit group of editors and academics that has gotten together, and they're putting out the Canadian English Dictionary, and they decided after a national poll that maple wash was the word of the year. It edged out elbows up. And maple washing, as we know, is trying to make things seem like they're Canadian when they're not, or more Canadian when they're not.
Oh.
So they're going to roll out the dictionary digitally in stages. They're going to start with the letter Q because it will be such a short chapter. And then they'll put out a print edition.
Well, that's good to hear. Okay, maple washing. I have no idea what the word for this year. It's so weird saying that 2026 is going to be. But undoubtedly, it will come up in our conversations. We promise you that. And I got to tell you, I'm a little disturbed after, you had your anniversary, yours and Derek's 16th on the 23rd of December, and then Derek's birthday on the 24th, and then Christmas, that you're out looking for new men. What?
Yes, somebody signed me up for Match.com. And it's a prank, but I think it's kind of a mean prank. It's a long story, but I happen to be in a room with a couple of people, and there aren't that many, I hope, but a couple of people who really don't care for me. And I wonder if it sort of reminded them that they don't care for me, and one of them did this. I have no idea. I'm not going to spend too much time thinking about it, but I got the notification that I'm now a member, and then I got a few potential matches, and I just sort of looked at the emails and laughed, and I certainly wasn't going to click a link or go on because I don't know what password they've used or anything.
Right.
So it would just let them know that I was curious enough to go in, right? They would get the alerts. They would get all the information. So I've just been marking it all spam and getting rid of it. But I got another potential match a couple days later, and I did the same thing. I just deleted it. So if anybody sees me on Match.com, I'm not there for real.
Okay. You're not just saying that because Derek listens to the show, right? Just give me a wink. No, I know.
I was sitting right beside him, and I laughed so hard when it came up. I said, you're not going to believe this. So I showed him. He knows.
Well, this may put your conspiracy theory heart to rest because somebody posted on my Facebook page, who thought I needed to be matched with a man? So I think that this is something out there. It's a fishing expedition, and they're just targeting people randomly, Lisa.
Yeah, it could very well be. But it did seem like, I mean, I get tons of phishing. I get so much spam, especially as an author. It's mostly to do with fake book marketing. But this one, there was something different about it, something more specific that made it look like it might have been. And the fact that I keep getting matches here and there, too, makes me think that I probably have a profile on there. So,
Geez, I'm curious as hell as to who you're being matched with, but I totally understand you not going down that road.
No, I didn't even click show pictures or anything. Or just, nope, bye-bye.
Lisa, I came across a story in a local news outlet from Victoria, BC, where I live when I'm in the country,
Right.
in that area. And they're saying that so many Canadians are staying in Canada this year, which we know. 66% of people over 60 are saying they're not going to Arizona and California this year, which is, of course, where the western provinces tend to head. But a lot of them are coming to Vancouver Island. Isn't that wild?
It is wild because most of the country thinks of where you live as the place to go for the winter, and yet that's where you live, but in the winter you go somewhere else.
That's right. And, it gets damp, it gets rainy. It was
Yeah,
cold enough to be near zero a few days last week that they opened up some shelters. So it's not exactly a winter wonderland, but it's not, tropical
right.
either. But
Yeah.
I have to tell you a funny story. I was talking to Rob about this. It was almost a who's on first situation. And I said to him yesterday when I saw it, I said, "Oh, the snowbirds are coming now to Vancouver Island." And Rob goes, "Oh, instead of the States? Is it a political thing?" And I'm thinking, duh. And I said, "Yeah, yeah, it is." Well, it turns out today he's reading his feed and he goes, "Oh, I get the story now. You were talking about snowbirds, Canadians who go to the South. I was talking about the Canadian acrobatic airplane team who usually summer on Vancouver Island. So we were talking about two completely different things." But that's how rumors get started, right?
That's right. It's funny because I've heard interviews here and there with people who are going to the southern US still. They're just as angry about things, but it's about community and it's about the life they've built there. And I certainly understand that if you've invested in a place and you're just going to stick to your little enclave or whatever. I totally get it. But boy, I just could not do it.
Yeah, it's so complicated,
Yeah.
so complicated. What worries me about people coming to Vancouver Island from like Saskatchewan or Alberta is it's so damp. And Rob has noticed that even coming down to Nuevo Vallarta to visit me. He's here for a 2-week visit. It's good for marriage.
Mhm.
And his joints hurt more because it's so damp. And it's damp at home, but it's damp here too.
Hmm.
And you add that to the cold, and I came across a story on why your joints feel worse when it's cold. Do you find this? Because you go out walking all the time with Derek, and I know that he takes Sierra Sil, but it's just hard on your joints.
Yeah, it is. And I shouldn't say I go out all the time with him because when it's been minus 18 with the wind chill, I wave from the window. But yes, I do actually feel it when it's colder. So why is it? What happens?
Well, there are changes in barometric pressure. And when air pressure drops, joint tissues can slightly expand. So things that are already inflamed or sensitive feel more pain, sharper and more persistent. And then there's that fluid that cushions your joints and
Mm,
it can thicken because everything's freezing. So it can't lubricate. Everything feels stiffer. Your muscles contract. And if you pair that with less physical activity because you just want to stay inside, your joints aren't getting the movement that they need to stay mobile and supported. And then low grade inflammation, which so many people at our ages have, can get worse because of damp and chilly environments. So they feel more tender or prone to irritation. And a lot of people will take glucosamine for this. It's helpful, but it's slow acting and it doesn't work for everybody, and it
mm,
isn't a severe damage fix. So this is where I turn a story about inflammation into not an infomercial, but something that actually can help. And when you pair your glucosamine with Sierra Sil, it's where the magic happens because Sierra Sil is fast acting, it targets the inflammation, and it helps rebuild cartilage. And Sierra Sil does have a glucosamine variety. They have a curcumin variety as well, plus the joint spray, and of course, joint formula 14. So it's all there. And if this is the year you're going to try and work on your joint pain and stay a little more active, even just in the house, you should try it. It even comes with a guarantee.
Yeah, 14 days. If you don't find a difference within 2 weeks, you can get your money back. But I'll tell you, a few people do it because it works so well.
Hmm.
Just visit the website, sierrasil.com, Sierra like the mountains, SIL.com, and the GF code will get you 14% off.
So you know that 2025 was a big year for change for me. Was it for you, or did you just kind of get better, leave things behind? What did the year feel like for you, Lisa?
It felt a little bit like a hilly ride where I made strides in some ways and then I had challenges in others. So I think it was pretty typical in that way. But I find that the older I get, any growth, not physical, but any growth is bigger and more sustained. Does that make any sense?
That is interesting.
Hmm.
Like you're making changes that aren't just a blip on the radar. There are changes that you want to integrate into your life from
Yeah.
here on in.
Yeah, and maybe it's partly because when we get to this age, we don't bother taking something on that we're not going to follow through with because the hourglass is running. So
Yeah,
that's kind of how I feel about it.
that's interesting. Oh, and we got the best email about the books that you published this year, and we'll get to that in a little bit. Christmas was full of gifts for us in so many ways. But for 2025, and you heard me talk about this early in the year because I saw the light. I was a convert. I was all Mel Robbins and the let them theory. And then something happened, and I didn't want to hear about it. I didn't want to read about it. I was like the monkey, hear no evil, see no evil. And I certainly didn't want to speak any evil because it was just so disappointing. And to clarify, here's what it's about. And you started seeing this earlier than I did, and I didn't want to hear it, Lisa.
Well, I didn't want to talk about it to you because I think Mel Robbins' let them approach is brilliant. It's basically a modern take on Stoicism. If you can't do something about it, let it go. Let them do what they're going to do. Don't waste any time on it. So I didn't want to take away from that because that is, I think, valid and worthy. It's just a matter of where it came from.
It is. And when someone finds a lifeline or a lifeboat, more accurately, do you want to be the one to stick the knife in the dinghy? I don't think so.
Right.
And you saw how it buoyed me, how it helped me to deal with things, how it sort of changed and shifted my perspective on some things that were weighing so heavily on me. And so when I started seeing that people were mad at Mel Robbins because it centers on allegation of plagiarism, there was a poem that came out and she was saying, oh, she had this kind of aha moment at her son's prom. And that's when she decided she was going to let them. But yet she had published something about let them before her son's prom. Somebody has done all the research on this. And she may have plagiarized let them. But the fact that she kind of comes out and says, well, this is revolutionary, this is new, this is life changing. It is life-changing as it was for me, but it wasn't new or revolutionary. What Mel Robbins did and did for me was she took a whole bunch of ideas out there, like the Stoicism,
Mm-hmm.
which you have introduced me to so beautifully, like Buddhism,
Mm-hmm.
like so many wisdoms that have been out there forever, and kind of, I don't know, is the offense in making it her own?
Well, I think what she did was distill it down to its core. It's all about communication, the way I see it. She took it to a point where it was just so digestible.
Mhm.
I mean, the Stoics will say, go read Marcus Aurelius. Well,
Yeah.
he lived how many centuries ago? And no, you don't want to read that stuff. And Mark Manson, for example, the subtle art of not giving an F.
Mhm.
Well, we can all relate to that. I don't give an F about that or let them do this. And I think that's what she was able to do. Unfortunately, Cassie Phillips is the one who wrote the poem Let Them before Mel Robbins ever came out with this stuff. And
Yeah.
boy, I would like Mel to deal with this. I would love for her to respond to it.
Yeah. Something I saw her yesterday, a video she posted, and she was doing a little scene by a fire, and she had s'mores, and she said, perfect s'mores don't happen on accident. On
Mm.
accident? Mel, come
Mel.
on. I know,
Yeah.
I know. Anyway, besides that, she's being criticized about emotional bypassing, avoidance, and allowing people to ignore bad behavior or avoid difficult but necessary relationship repairs. She tells people that if they are separating themselves from their parents or their children because they need to create space, that that is immature, emotionally immature, and I don't see it that way. And she doesn't have credentials. She's giving out high stakes psychological advice while being a former lawyer and not a licensed mental health professional. So I don't know. There's all that criticism out there, but let's get back to the main thing. Can you separate the message from the messenger? Like, it's almost like the artist as a human being when you hear that somebody is a garbage artist or that they've shown up at the Kennedy Center or, one of those
Yeah.
things. Can you separate what you loved about them from what they've done?
This let them theory, regardless of where it came from, has been very helpful to many people. And that's got to be a good thing. I don't think that has to go out with a different opinion now, a more insightful opinion that we have now of Mel Robbins. It was funny. The first time she started popping up in my feed, she just irritated me. I don't like the way she speaks or anything. And I thought, who is this woman distilling stoicism? And I've never heard of her before. Of course, you have to hear of somebody for the first time somewhere.
Yeah.
But I think she also lays down some harsh truths, like the whole thing about distancing yourself from your parents. It's different for everybody. And I would never judge anybody for doing that. However, ultimately, you're either going to have that awful discussion or one of them is going to pass away and you will have to live with not having that discussion. And so I see why she says that. It's not accurate for everybody. It's not helpful for everybody, but I also kind of get it. It's sort of a stoic way.
Yeah.
I don't know. So because the theory works so well for you and helped you see some things more clearly, how do you feel about it now?
I'm still so disappointed. Sooner or later, you kind of go, okay, you got to choose your heroes wisely. That's why I just idolize you, Lisa Brandt.
Oh, jeez, cut that out. You don't know what skeletons are in my closet. No, that's not
No,
true.
I had no idea that you were, looking for love in all the wrong places. We all learn things, don't we?
I'm going to just hand my phone to my husband and go, just take a look. Everything's fine.
I hear the percolator. Well, what a nice surprise to open our emails over the holidays and see that Gail had bought us 15 coffees. Come on.
So nice, You can buy one. You can do whatever you like, but this double-digit coffees is actually kind of fun. So thank you, Gail. We really appreciate it.
It's really neat. Just go to gracefullyandfrankly.com. And at the bottom, you will see on the right, there's a microphone so you can leave us a voicemail. We do love those. And then on the left, there's a little coffee cup. It's so nice. It perks up our day, quite literally.
It does. And we got an email as well from a couple of Gracefully and Frankly listeners who actually came with a picture, and I posted it on the Facebook page, of them both holding my book, the first one of my 3-novel series, Pieces of Us. They're 60-something sister-in-law queenagers who love the podcast, and they say,
Yay.
quote, we wanted to share that this year, to our surprise, we got each other the Felicity and Mitzi series of
Oh,
books for Christmas.
wow.
So it's so cool. They're looking forward to reading them and having a discussion. I have to tell you, I don't know if it's imposter syndrome or what, but when people buy all three, which a lot do, I get a little nervous. It's like, well, read one and see if you like it first and then go from there. I'm always worried when they buy all three, but
No, it's absolutely the way to do it. And it's because the first one ends and you want to see where it goes and you don't want to wait
yeah.
for the next one. And you know what? This weather, oh my God, the weather you've had over the holidays from rain to snow and freezing rain and everything. What a perfect time just to hunker down and just enjoy some juicy reads. They're good. And I'm not just saying that because I'm one of your biggest fans, but yeah, the whole Felicity and Mitzi series is just tremendous. And I'm so happy for you. Thank you, Kim and Wendy. And of course, you can get it at gracefullyandfrankly.com. There's a whole shop there. So that's nice. What a nice note on which to end last year, huh?
Oh, it was just wonderful. Made my year.
As we start a new year, and I like to start new things, I came across this Substack that says it's from Harvard, which is usually BS, but I did take one thing from it, drinking water before coffee every time. And I
Mm,
do that now. Every morning, I have like
yeah.
at least 8 ounces of water before my coffee because your body is dehydrated. So give it water first. I'm trying that. Are you trying anything for the new year at all like that?
That's something I already do, and I never even realized that it was a health thing. I just thought putting coffee in my body first is probably a little harsh.
Yeah.
It burns. Anyway, I'm trying to think of what it is. Well, I put on a few pounds I would like to get off, but not because I'm attached to any thought that I might be a supermodel or that I'm not good enough or any of that stuff, just because I feel better when things button up. And no, I don't. There really isn't anything in particular that I can think of. It'll come.
Well, you were always great about being super careful with your skin. And now I'm on a regimen. I went to a doctor down here, got my vitamin B for the winter. Yeah, Botox. I haven't had it in a year and I was just feeling really down in the dumps. So I got some Botox and then, way more than the price of the Botox was these serums and stuff that I'm starting to do. And part of it was that I read, this is going to sound really harsh and it won't apply to everyone, that you're born looking like your parents, but you die looking like your choices. Oh my God, did that ever hit?
Oh, oh, wow.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Yeah, that's hard. I
Ooh,
mean, I remember what I used to look like when I drank, and if you had a little too much last night, we'll just keep our volume down. And we're
right.
not judging, but I always looked tired and sallow and awful. So that changed. But yeah, so I'm doing more to kind of help my skin help me instead of, putting a bunch of money into injections and stuff. Just be better about skin and sun and all that kind of thing. But there are other things you can do that aren't expensive as Botox, aren't expensive as a bunch of whatever we're putting on our faces. And that's a good pillow.
Yes, a good pillow will ride with you through your life or through a lot of your life without slowly getting squished, and then you fall along with it. Your spine adjusts, and before you know it, you're getting up in the morning and you're all creaky. The Envy pillow will not do that. We got a note from Barb a couple of weeks ago, and she said, "What does it feel like? What does the Envy pillow feel like?" It's got a little weight to it. It's not airy, fluffy feather, but it's not memory foam. It's more sustainable than that. However, it has some of the qualities of memory foam, which is if you squish it, it comes back up, which is one of the reasons it will last so well. And you can roll it up if you have the travel version and squish it into something really small. And then when you get to your destination, it's like a sea monkey you add water to, and it comes to its full fruition. And there you have a whole pillow again. It's pretty cool.
No water required.
No.
That was a joke. But yeah, we are huge fans of Envy Pillow, not just because they are our wonderful sponsors, but you can get whatever you need for 10% off on their website, envy, ENVY pillow.com. Use the code GF for 10% off. Well, it's time for This Week in Totally Stupid or
Twits. This is the year version.
with a twist. It's twits, but we move the letters around. It's now twist. Aha.
These are three of the big predictions that were made in 2025 that didn't come true, and those who made them are our twits, and there are a lot of them.
Okay.
This one, admittedly, is a little bit of navel gazing, but Forbes magazine predicted that voice AI, that robot voice that's trying to take my lunch money,
Yeah.
would be impossible to tell apart from human voices in 2025. Wrong.
Nope.
Humans are still human. AI is still AI. We can all tell the difference. There may come a time when we can't, but we can right now.
I have to tell you, Lisa, my sister sent me a morning meditation video. Like, she sends me YouTube links all the time, and I do to her as well. But as soon as I heard it was AI, I thought, nope, I'm not listening to this. I work too damn hard, and so do you, to put real content out there. I'm not listening to a computer do a meditation. It's just
Yeah.
so 2001 Space Odyssey. It's
Mm.
so weird. Anyway,
Yeah.
it's not real. I need personal connection.
It's off-putting. I don't know if it's because the human voice is made by muscles, and so we know that. I don't know what it is, but there's just something about it. Anyway, I know I'm sort of navel-gazing again.
I know, but not without good reason. Okay, what's your next one?
All right, so a group of scientists writing in The Atlantic predicted that food shortages and price fluctuations would be a thing of the past at the grocery store in 2025.
Wow.
Ha, I say.
Yeah,
Ha! Of
yeah,
course, they didn't put tariffs into the equation.
that's true. Whoever saw that stupidity coming?
They messed that up. And the number one prediction that didn't come true with a collective giant horde of twits was the rapture.
Oh, the rapture.
The world was supposed to come to an end on September 23rd.
Hmm.
Many Christian evangelicals got ready. Actually, some made arrangements for their houses. They were hoping to ascend to the sky and meet with Jesus. I'm not making fun of anyone's religion.
Nope.
I'm just saying picking September 23rd for some reason was really, really weird. I mean, I know I would still be here on piles of clothes around me, so, I wasn't worried about it.
Yeah.
But many people took it very seriously, but it turned out to be just another Tuesday, and so much time on social media taken up with people making their plans for flying away.
Yeah. And if you listen to podcasts about other predictions, what's crazy about this is when they don't come true, the believers double down. It's human nature. And I think we've seen that with our neighbors to the south, that if you put all your money on a bad horse, you just believe that next time that horse is going to be better. And you can't admit you were wrong. You can't admit you were duped. You can't admit that you made a mistake or you were just blind. But they actually literally double down, and the people who predicted it will not be dragged through the streets. They will just have more followers and buy more planes.
Yeah, it's a good time to be an influencer. We used to call them snake oil salespeople, but now it's just clicks for money.
Yeah.
Money for clicks and your chicks for free? No, I forget how that goes.
Something like that. Well, this show will always be free, and we thank our sponsors for that. Envy Pillows, Sierra Sil, but most of all, as we start this new year, we thank you for being along for the ride, for telling your friends. I have a sister who came to stay with me, and she said, oh, I don't listen to podcasts. But when we were doing a puzzle and I had a podcast on, she loved it. Why aren't people just diving in and trying new stuff? That's a no-brainer.
Yeah, it's simple and it's free and there's everything out there, but we've got everything right here.
We do. So thank you. We'll have another show for you next week. My word intention for 2026, Lisa, is sociable. I have to get out and be more sociable, or I'll have a repeat of what happened when I was shopping for my Christmas dinner. And that's a story I'll have to tell you next week. But it was terrifying.
Oh, no.
And it's just because I'm becoming, I think, more and more agoraphobic because I'm feeding into that cocooning and hermit,
Oh, I know.
So that's got to be my thing. That's got to be my thing.
Mine is intentional. I'm not going to let other people take my time unless I want them to. I may be going into hermit life a little bit more. I'm not sure, but I do feel like I've got things mostly under control. And then there's one or two people in my life who get attention they don't deserve. And I've got to work on that.
Okay. Well, as long as I always have your attention.
It's got nothing to do with what we do here. The highlight of my week. The highlight of my week.
So that's why we do Gracefully and Frankly, so I can book her for an hour.
Yeah, right.
All right, we'll talk to you again next week. Pencil me in, will you?
Oh, yes, you're in ink. Bye-bye.
Okay, thanks. Bye.